A few months later, DreamWorks released Bee-Movie. It's about a college-graduated bee named Barry who wants to work for Honeyx, a place that makes honey. When he goes to the world beyond his hive, he meets Vanessa, a florist. Suddenly, when Barry heard that people can buy honey off of the grocery shelves, he sues the entire human race for stealing their honey. Jeffrey Katzenberg always wanted Jerry Seinfeld to be in one of his movies. Heck, he's been asking him for 12 years, and Jerry keeps on refusing. Then, one day at lunch, Jerry was talking with Steven Spielberg and mentioned, as a joke, about Bee-Movie. Spielberg loved the idea so much, he picked up the phone and said,
"Get me Katzenberg, he's gotta hear this."
Since Seinfeld wasn't familiar with the animation process, Katzenberg gave Jerry a crash course on making an animated film 101. It took between 800 and 900 character designs to make the right Barry because they tried to make him look more like Seinfeld. The villains of the film are voiced by the stars that appeared on stuff made by DreamWorks' arch nemesis, Pixar. Da-da-da-da! John Goodman, who played the opposite counsel, played Sully in Monsters, Inc., and Patrick Warburton, who played a guy who almost killed Barry, voiced Buzz Lightyear on the TV series. Because that the film took 4 years to make, the crew actually felt hypnotized and even started to see hexagons everywhere. For the trailers, they would show the cast, including Jerry Seinfeld and Chris Rock, making the film in the style of a B-movie, like a live-action cheap one. They are so hilarious, and you have to watch it, dudes. But wait until this one is done! On its release, they did fairly well with $366 million worldwide, but the reviews were mixed. Very ironically, DreamWorks actually got sued twice because of Bee-Movie. One of them was from Swedish animation students who claimed that they pitched this idea in the year 2000 under the name Beebelon, and the other one was from the cosmetics company called Beeceuticals, who claimed that they used their trademark phrase, "give bees a chance." In 2008, DreamWorks released their martial arts comedy, Kung Fu Panda. It's about a panda named Po, who works at his dad's noodle shop, dreams to be one of the Furious Five. Suddenly, he's got his dream come true when he was chosen as the Dragon Warrior, which made the five ticked. Then, Tai Lung, Master Shifu's greatest and most dangerous student, escaped from prison for revenge. So it's up to Po, with the training of Shifu, to stop Tai Lung so he can prove that he's seriously the Dragon Warrior. Originally, this film was supposed to be a spoof of the action comedy Kung Fu Hustle, but John Stevenson, one of the directors of the film, didn't like the sound of the idea, so he made it into a simple comedy as itself. For this film, they decided to make it more epic and feel like a kung fu movie than what they usually do, which is make a lot of pop culture jokes. The opening dream sequence and the end credits, where it's all like Samurai Jack-ish 2D, were actually done by computer animation that looks like hand-drawn animation. In other words, they have to fake 3D to make it look 2D. To prepare the animators to make the action scenes, they took a 6-hour kung fu class. Also, they have to reconfigure their rigging software so that their characters are able to do moves they couldn't do before. A new challenge facing them is that they're using both fur and clothing for the characters. Before, it was always one or the other. Ever notice that it was always that and never both in all computer animated films before Kung Fu Panda? Originally, Po was supposed to be more of a douche, but then after that the writers heard that Jack Black would be playing Po, they made him more of a #1 fan kind of guy. When it was released, it was a major hit. It earned a lot of praise from the critics, and it earned $635 million at the box office. For the awards, it lost an Oscar and a Golden Globe to Pixar's WALL-E for Best Animated Film, but at the Annies, which is like the Oscars for animated films and TV shows, holy crap! It won 11 out of 16 Annie Awards, including Best Directing, Best Character Design and Animation, and Best Animated Feature. There is a manga released in Japan that's based on this film, and there's going to be a TV series that will air on Nickelodeon. 6 months after Kung Fu Panda's release, they let out the sequel of The New Yorkers in the Jungle, Madagascar, Escape to Africa. In this one, Alex, Marty, Gloria, Melman, and the Penguins are leaving Madagascar by plane, and they brought in King Julian, Maurice, and the monkeys along with them. Then, their plane ran out of gas and landed in the heart of Africa. In there, Alex learns about his roots, Marty meets hundreds of other Chris Rock zebras, Gloria is with her new man, and Melman tries his best to tell Gloria his true feelings about her. Originally, the film was supposed to be called Madagascar 2: The Great Escape. You might find this title familiar because they changed it to Escape to Africa way later in production. The crew went on a trip to Africa to understand how big the space is, how animals would live, and to see the true beauty of Africa. Also, they planned all about the story and the characters over there. The plot point where the watering hole is getting dry is based on what the crew saw during their trip and how they realized how important it is to the animals. To help make the crash landing scene, the crew filmed themselves acting out and create the scene by being as over the top as possible. For the scenes that show the characters when they were babies, the one who played young Alex was Ben Stiller's son, Quinn Dempsey Stiller, and the one who played young Gloria was Jada Pinkett Smith's daughter, Willow Smith. This is the last animated film that Bernie Mac, who voiced Zuba, Alex's dad in the movie, would appear in before he died. When it was released, it was a little bit better than the first one with the box office and with the critics. They're still mixed, but there are more good reviews this time, and in the box office, they got $602 million worldwide. About 2.5 weeks after the film's release, they aired a spin-off TV series called The Penguins of Madagascar on Nickelodeon that's about, of course, the penguins and even the lemurs. In 2009, DreamWorks released Monsters vs. Aliens. It's about a girl named Susan who got crushed by a meteor on her wedding day. Instead of the meteor squishing her and thus killed her, she actually grew up to 49 feet and 11 inches tall. So the military sends her to a secret government place with other monsters. Suddenly, a group of aliens along with a giant robot comes to Earth and starts destroying everything in sight. So the president sends the monsters to stop the entire invasion. According to Ed Leonard, the CTO of DreamWorks Animation, this film took more than 45.6 million computing hours, which I think is like man hours, but I guess on a computer? Anyways, it took that long to make the film, which is more than 8 times longer to make than the first Shrek. The entire film took over 120 terabytes to make. By the way, 1 terabyte is the equivalent to 1,000 gigabytes. Now that's a lot of iPods. Also, it only took 6 terabytes to only make 1 explosion scene. This is the first ever computer animated film to be directly made into stereoscopic 3D instead of making the 3D effects after the film is done. To promote the 3D thing, they showed a 3D commercial during the halftime of the Super Bowl. Now I know what you're thinking. How the heck can you see 3D on your TV when you don't have the special glasses? Well, people were actually distributing color code 3D glasses on Sobe stands at major grocery stores. And yes, that's Michelle and Barack Obama over there using them now. When it was released, well, it wasn't really great. they only got $383 million at the box office, and it earned some okay to mixed reviews. Like Kung Fu Panda, there will be an animated series based on the film that will air on Nickelodeon. On April 2010, when the 3D Blu-ray players were in stores, they also came with Monsters vs. Aliens in 3D, making this the first ever film to be released on 3D Blu-ray.